In this video, we look at the dynamics of the social media algorithm, how it ranks other posts on top of others, and how you can use this knowledge to create posts with greater engagement and greater reach. Welcome, my name is Patrick Gashiri. This is the second video in our series on social media marketing. In this video, I'm going to look at the dynamics of the social media algorithm, briefly cover how it ranks social media posts, how it randomly, basically not randomly, how it chooses some posts over the others, so basically deciding which post to show to a social media user and which not to show. This is useful knowledge that you can use when you want to create posts that are going to get greater engagement in future. So before I get into the what and how this algorithm works, let me take you back in history around 15 years ago when Facebook was first launched. At that point, Facebook used to show every post. It does not matter whether you had let's say you had 100 friends. Once you logged into Facebook would show each and every the post of each and every one of your friends, of the 100 friends, and this was not very good user experience. Why? Because some of the 100 people, some of the 100 friends in your list, some are close to you, others probably are strangers. So it's not very good experience that you are shown a post of almost a total stranger, while a person who is more closer to you is ranked down in the timeline. Their post basically might not even get to see it if you don't scroll down enough. So the algorithm was created to improve the user experience and to show content that is most valuable to a user. So in this case, for instance, for those of you who are very observant, you might have noticed that Facebook gives credence. The algorithm as it works right now gives more value to content that comes from posts done by either your closest friends or your family. Posts, on the other hand, from business pages or posts that are meant to be that are business in nature, they are more likely to be you're more likely not to see them at the top of your timeline. You have to scroll down and down before you can view them. So this was one of the changes that now Facebook introduced when they introduced the algorithm back then. So the initial changes, the initial algorithm looked at three main areas basically. It had three major factors that influenced how it worked. One of the factors was affinity. Basically, affinity looked at how close the connection between you and the person who have posted a post. As I've mentioned, if you have a close friend, or if your wife or your husband or your sister is among your friends on Facebook, based on this algorithm, and you have shown you have tagged them as either a sister or a brother or a spouse in your profile on Facebook, Facebook is more likely to show you a post from this person than any other stranger. But affinity is not just about relations basically. Affinity also checks at how you relate with other posts. Do you engage? For instance, if you engage with a person's post regularly, with one of your friends' posts regularly, Facebook, the affinity score is much higher for that particular friend than another friend whose post you don't engage with in any way. And now engagement is also important because it also influences the second factor on the algorithm, which is the weight basically. So what is this weight? What is the weight of how you engage with a post on Facebook? The manner in which you can engage in a Facebook or with a Facebook post in several different ways. It can be a like, it can be a comment, or it can be a share. So a comment has a greater weight than a like. So if you comment regularly on one of your friends' posts, or let's assume that you comment on almost all of your friends' posts when they post and they post regularly, then you're more likely to see every of their posts. If they post compared to another friend who you just like now and then, you like their post now and then. So the post, the friend on whose post you comment on more often will be given greater weight by the algorithm, and you're more likely to see it on top of your timeline compared to other posts. Now, the third factor that was in the original algorithm was decay. What is decay? As the name suggests, decay basically checks how old is a post. For instance, if I have not logged into Facebook for like a day, and then I log in, at the point when I log in, I'm more likely to see a post that was posted within the last hour or within the last minute, as opposed to a post that was posted 24 hours ago. So decay looks at how new how recent basically is a social media post, and then it uses that now to rank a post on your timeline. So all these factors, basically the algorithm is a technical, it is a mathematical equation. So all these factors plus many others that have been introduced over the years are all used to form an equation that now determines which post you are more likely to see when you get into social media. And now, what does this mean for for you as a social media marketer? It means that every time you make a post on Facebook, on Instagram, or on Twitter, because all these platforms basically they have some factors that are common in all the algorithms, but they also have some unique factors that are unique to each platform. But what this means to you as a social media marketer is that what you need to target as you create your post is to target is to get as much engagement as you can get on your post. And this engagement basically there are like two levels, let's call basically 3 levels on which you can try basically to get greater engagement for your post, and which are also influenced by the algorithm. For instance, if you make a post on social media today, you have those direct friends that you are friends right now, they are going to see that post. If any of them comments on that post, then that post now can get to the second level, because one of your friends has commented on it. Then one of their friends who is not your friend is likely to see the activity that they commented on your post, provided your post are viable by the general public, because it also depends on the settings that on the privacy settings that you've put on your post. Which means also, as if you want to become a social media marketer or an influencer, it's better that you make your post viewable by the public as opposed to restricting them to your friends. So if you make your post viewable by the public, and then one of your friends comments on it, then their friends, some of their friends who are not your direct friends, are likely to see that activity that so and so commented on this particular post. If again one of those friends who are not your friends then comments on that, then those friends who are not your friends, now that is the second level. Now the third level now comes into play if one of the friends of those second level friends sees that a second level friend basically commented or also liked on your post, and then it shows up on the timelines on that level friend. Then again, you see now your post has reached people on 3 levels: your direct friends, the friends of your friends, and the friends of the friends of your friends. I hope I am making sense on this one. Basically, you can see it's like a multi-level marketing, as a multi-level marketing thing, where basically the activity of those people you know directly basically can cause other people who do not know directly to know about your post, and so on. And again, not only that, basically the other things that also influence how the Facebook algorithm basically ranks your post. For instance, all social media platforms, they are all in business. They are for-profit organizations, so they try as much as possible to give prominence or to give greater weight to posts that are native. Native means that posts that are posted within the environment of that platform. What do I mean by this? For instance, if you write a blog article on your website, and then you come and share that link on Facebook, that is not a native post. Why? Because it is redirecting people outside of Facebook. Basically, people have to click that link and they will be redirected out of Facebook to go and watch, to go and read that blog post. A native post, on the other hand, is like if you write a text post direct on Facebook, or if you upload a video directly on Facebook as opposed to YouTube. So it's very important that you, as a social media marketer, that you know, if you want to get greater engagement, for instance, for your video, go for post that video directly on Facebook. Don't go posting the video on YouTube and then sharing the link on Facebook. Why? Because Facebook will frown on that. Facebook wants to keep Facebook, Instagram, all these social media platforms. Basically, they want to keep people within their platform. They want people to basically have a loop where you watch this person's this friend's post, and then you go to this other friend's post, but all within Facebook without being redirected outside. So that is why you find that TikTok is very addictive, because once you watch a funny video on TikTok, then you see another one, then you see another one, so you remain within TikTok itself. It's very high. It will be very difficult for you to be redirected outside. When something is catchy, you want to see when to get more and more of that. So that's why it's very important that you post only content that is native. And again, these algorithms have changed over the years. They keep changing also based on the marketing goals of the organization themselves, and also based on external factors. And one of the major factors, external factors, that have influenced the way they work over the recent years, it is the privacy laws that have come into effect over the last 5 years. This includes the GDPR policy in Europe, or Kenya's Data Protection Act. Basically, these privacy laws, they have changed, or they have restricted the reach to which the scope over which basically Facebook can utilize private data. For instance, personal data, that is. For instance, if today I get tired of Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and I decide to deactivate my account, based on these laws, these privacy laws, I have a right to ask, or basically not even to ask, is that to demand that Facebook never uses my data ever again, because now I have deactivated my account. Additionally, I can also demand that my data is not sold or used for passed to third parties for marketing purposes. So the contents of these laws vary based on jurisdiction, but basically they have changed. For instance, if you have been a social media marketer for some years, and maybe a while back you were using paid ads to target people, to create targeted audiences, particularly on Facebook, to target people based on their geolocation data, their interests, their hobbies, their gender, or their browsing history. For instance, in paid advertising, Meta Business Suite does give the capability to target people based on age groups. You can target people between, for instance, 25 years and 45 years. You can target people in a particular location. For instance, you can decide to target people in Nairobi. You can target people based on the content of their cookies, their browsing history, and so on. This was all fair game until these privacy laws came into effect, because that is exactly what these laws put a restriction on this type of data. For instance, and that means like you cannot just go and start spying on somebody's browsing history unless they have given you explicit permission. And these restrictions means that Facebook, the reach of Facebook advertising is likely to go down, because now the effectiveness is likely to go down, because now the accuracy that was made possible by this type of personal data is now reduced. And again, for instance, we have the Facebook pixel. There's a piece of code that one could get from Facebook and put on your website, so that you can track the people who come to do, maybe let's call it window shopping on your website. You can track their Facebook profiles, maybe some of you have wondered why, for instance, you go to an online shop or you go to a search engine like Google and search for instance, Bluetooth speakers, and then once you're back on Facebook, you get all these ads about Facebook, about Bluetooth speakers, and you wonder, how did these guys know that I actually wanted, or I was actually searching for Bluetooth speakers? This kind of advertising is made possible by this piece of code called Pixels, and what it does is that it tracks your user activity on these websites, and it tracks your profile back to Facebook. But again, this kind of tracking is now restricted by these privacy laws, and this also means that the effectiveness of that party advertisers and even Facebook itself is likely to go down courtesy of these changes. So it's always good to keep an eye on the changes that are done on the social media algorithms every year. Some years back we had this trend, this trend where a lot of fake news was being spread over social media platforms, particularly news related to politics. And again, Facebook introduced, made an update on this social media algorithm. They updated to filter out information that is likely to be basically fake or spammy. Same thing, the same social media algorithm will punish your content if it appears to be very promotional. But if you create content that promotes engagement, that adds value to people, that content will go viral. Why? Because of the three levels of engagement that we talked about in this video, where your direct friends, their friends, and the friends of your friends, and so on. So it's always important to keep in mind that the social media algorithms change frequently. The reverse is also true. If you post content that is not getting so much engagement, then the algorithm will push you down on the timeline. Your post will not be seen by as many people, because people will have to scroll so much down the timeline before they can see your content. And again, if your content is not attracting a lot of engagement, then it will take you a lot of time now to rebuild, and basically your trust with the algorithm, to rebuild before you can get that engagement. And and again, the time at which you post is also important, because as we said, one of the factors that influences how the algorithm ranks content is decay. So there are times when people are more likely to be on social media than others. For instance, during a weekday, people are more likely to be on social media during the evening hours, or during the breaks, like lunch breaks and so on. Otherwise, during these other hours, people are more likely, for instance, between 9 and 1, people are more or less likely to be working. Most people won't be on social media. Same case between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. But if you target these people from around 8 p.m. at night, they are more likely to be on their phones and on social media. So if you have to schedule a post, take advantage of this and find at what times are people more likely to be on social media, so that you can take advantage of the decay factor of the algorithm. And again, the level of interest that a user has in a particular subject also affects how the algorithm shows posts to them. How do I mean by this? For instance, if the algorithm notices that I engage more with posts about vehicles, posts about football, or post about a particular series and so on, they're more likely to show me this type of post in the future. And this again is something that you can use as a social media marketer. Try to find people with an interest in the subject that you are trying to market. For instance, if you want to be a YouTuber, you can find other people who have also you can engage or find groups that are about YouTube creators, about content creators, and so on. If you have an interest in, for instance, hiking, find groups or friends with an interest in hiking, because the more you engage with content with your content about hiking, the more you're likely to see more content about the same, and that way you'll be introduced to new content on your timeline. So there are very many factors that influences how the algorithm works, and although a few are public, there are many others that are not public. So it's impossible basically to be able to learn and understand all of them. But with these few pointers, hopefully you can be able to now create. You can be able now to now create content that is that attracts engagement and that reaches more people. So thank you for watching. Keep an eye out for the next video on this series, and if you love our content, kindly subscribe and like our videos. See you in the next video, and thank you.